Right now, I'm currently recording the Wednesday before they play the Bulls. The NBA comes back today from All-Star break, so I wanted to put out a little Knicks mid-season review video just to talk about different things that I feel. I won't go into depth. This isn't really for the grand scheme of things, big picture. It's really just small, on the ground level things that have happened, updates we've gotten. The only big picture thing I'll talk about today is the playoffs. Where I see us going, what's our ceiling as opposed to our floor, what's a disappointment, things of that nature. I just want to talk about a few things, nothing grand scale, nothing big picture. The only thing I want to talk about is this season alone. So any tips, any minutes, conversations, it won't happen on this video. It's just my opinion on certain things. If you guys want more in-depth conversations, you can follow me on Twitter. I could also put out more videos about specific things, but today is just a general outlook, a little mid-season review before NBA comes back. The first thing I want to talk about is just a little message to Knicks fans, and I'm no saint. I'm also guilty of this too. Knicks fans, we have to see this season as year one of the championship window, and I know people don't want to hear about that, especially the Knicks fans that have gone through it longer than me. I'm only 21, but I know we've come from a bad decade in the 2010s, whether that's the highest of the highs that still ended in disappointments with Carmelo, the tanking years that we didn't tank right, we didn't get no top prospects. I myself have overreacted a lot, and I had to realize this, but this is really year one of a 4 or 5 year window because our players, they're right in their primes. They're around 27, 28. They're not the youngest, so I'm not going to give them that much flexibility, but this is a new team. Teams that are better than us, they're not in their first years. Not everybody is the Boston Celtics that can form a new super team and win in the same year. Matter of fact, every team that's ahead of us have had their core for so many years. They've had it for 3+ years. If you look at the Celtics, if you look at the Cavs, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets even won a championship, and now, they still have their core. So we have to give it a lot of patience because the way you build a championship, it's not always just you build a team, form it, they win first year. That don't happen no more. You have to stay with your core for multiple years. You have to build that chemistry and then work around the margins. Not every team is like the Celtics, that their margins are Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. They cheated for that one. But look at the Cavs. They've added DeAndre Hunter now. They've developed other guys around the corner. The Grizzlies develop somebody new every week. So you just have to have patience. It is okay to be frustrated with certain basketball decisions on the court. Nobody's saying that these players have the right to not show up or not do certain things, but wanting somebody to get traded or whatever, things like that, I think that's an overreaction. So us Knicks fans, we need to chill. We need to give these guys room to develop together, room to grow, room to build that chemistry, and room to just fail. You need to fail to succeed. And I know we've had a lot of failures in the past, but it was not with this team yet. So we are just in All-Star break. We need to chill, and we good. We got updates on Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, and even Josh Hart. I'll start with Mitchell Robinson. It's been a little difficult with him because he got injured in last year's playoffs against the Sixers. Well, got injured against the Sixers, but was fully out against the Pacers where he got surgery, and he had just come back from another one. So he just keeps coming back, rushing it, coming back, rushing it, getting hurt over and over. And in the beginning of the season, it was known that he was not going to be ready right away, and we had gotten reports that it'll be December, early December. Then they pushed to, it got to be 2025. And they pushed to February, and then now they're saying mid-March. I'm not going to lie. I was in the camp of trading Mitch Robinson at the trade deadline because I felt like our team was not perfect and it needed help in other areas. I'll get into one area that I'm still concerned about, but I just thought that with $14 million on his contract and he hasn't played, I thought the Knicks should have viewed him as an asset. Still love the guy. I know what he brings. I know that he's a top rim protector. And he also saved us. He is the reason we won the Cavaliers series and the Sixers series. Everybody stepped up in the Sixers series, but if it wasn't for his defense on Embiid, who knows where that series would have went. There's no denying Mitch's abilities and his skills, and there's no doubting that. It's just that when you come back from that many injuries and it keeps getting pushed back, there was room to be worried. So he did get it cleared for 5-on-5 practices today as of Wednesday. There was one quote specifically where he talked about in the past he would rush from injuries. He would get injured and be eager to come on the floor and Just say he's good to go and rush it, and then that would like set him back even more. So I think having that in mind, I think the Knicks are trying to have the best approach possible in terms of him coming back 100%. The only thing is that you are pushing it kind of far by saying mid-March. The playoffs start beginning of April. So like it's like how many games is he gonna have to be able to condition? But I'm not on the team. I'm not no professional athlete. I don't know what's best for these guys. I'm just watching from a screen. So I'm going to trust them. Mitch is on the team. I have my thoughts about if he should have been traded or not, but trade deadline is passed. He's on the team. Welcome back, Mitch. He's my guy. I've seen him since he was drafted. He was my starting center for so long. So I'm going to accept him open arms. I know he can help this team just in terms of rim protection level. Just adding size down there is going to help, of course. I have my worries still with his injuries, but I think it's good that they're not rushing it. They're just, I guess they value 100% health over games and conditioning, but hey, man, it's different for every athlete. Not every athlete needs a certain amount of games to condition, so we're just going to have to see, but it's definitely a big help that this team needs for sure. With OG, I was never really scared about his injury. What I was scared about is like what it was. Because it was non-contact, we thought the worst. We thought it was Achilles. He was grabbing his leg. Then they said his foot, then his toe. And then now he's cleared for practice, and they're saying he's questionable for the Bulls game. So they're not going to force too much on him. I think even though Tibbs likes his, 40 minutes, I think he knows what's at risk with losing OG. So I'm not worried too much about that one. I'm just glad he's back. Josh Hart it just came out of nowhere that he was out for the Bulls game, and it was a little shocking. Sent a little wave through Knicks Twitter, but because he's just, Josh Hart is the Iron Man. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't want to miss games, and we had gotten previous reports about his knee, and it's always been he's questionable, then he plays. He's questionable, and he plays. And even the false report that Stephon Bondi put out that he said he misinterpreted, but there was just like concern about his knee, but then you just didn't think much of it because it's Josh Hart. So because it wasn't even questionable, because I don't even think they talked about it in the press conference, but because it was Josh Hart and it was out, people were worried. My take on it is, if it was any other player, I would see it as resting or load managing because they have the Cavaliers game on Friday, the day after. But because it's Josh Hart, it worries me a little bit in the sense, I know he's an Iron Man, he can thug it through. Josh Hart, he hates the minutes police. He hates the whole minutes discourse. He said he likes playing, that he wouldn't, him and Tibbs like this. He loves the minutes. He doesn't want to sub out. That's what he said. And he's been the main advocate for Tibbs and all the minutes. So the fact that it's him resting when we know that or managing his knee, when we know that that's not really his thing, like he'll play the game, that worries me a little bit. But then again, it's like there was nothing contact about Josh's injury, nothing immediate. So I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. I think he'll be fine. I think he's just resting for the Cavs game, hopefully. So the next thing I want to talk about is the key for the Knicks this season. Now, before you call me crazy, just listen to what I got to say. I don't mean the player of Precious Achiuwa. I don't mean like him and his skills individually. I think Precious is a good player, great person. I think his energy is contagious. He's a great energy guy. He has the ability to exceed what is needed from him, but he also has the ability to, to underachieve. He sometimes can look a little lost, but that's just how role players are. No role player is perfect. To me, Precious Achiuwa is a center. I think in the NBA, if you're not a superstar or at least all-star level, if you are a big that can't shoot, you're a center. I think you should be a center because it's not the 1990s, it's not the 1980s where they used to run two bigs that can't shoot. That's going to get you cooked in today's NBA, especially with the three-point shooting. If you're a 4, you need to be able to shoot, and Precious cannot shoot. I know he has a little thing of making threes in the corner, but we celebrate it, meaning that he actually made one. That's the celebration. Precious is not a consistent shooter. If in a playoff series, you rely on a Precious corner three, you're losing the game. So the reason I'm mentioning Precious is because I don't know if it's a Tibbs thing, if it's a coaching staff, the front office, they view Precious Achiuwa as a four. I don't know why, because the only characteristic that Precious has to play the four is his defensive versatility. Not even skill, just versatility, because Precious, he's not locking nobody down, but he has the ability to be able to guard some of the perimeter and then guard some centers. So that's, he has that versatility. But as soon as he comes down the floor to play the other side, to play offense, it's just not, I don't know what they see in Precious playing the four. And if one of those wings go down, Josh Hart, Mikal, OG, they're going to put Precious at the four. And Precious at the four, he's just not, he's barely guarding other fours, and he's just not spacing the floor. I don't know what they view. I don't know. I used to think it was a coaching issue, but then at the deadline, the Knicks did not obtain a backup wing. So to me, it seems like they view Precious at the four. After OG Anunoby got hurt, the Knicks won some games with Precious at the four. But we saw in the Boston game, they got picked apart. In terms of Celtics guarding the Knicks, it was really nothing the Knicks could do. They were just packing the paint. They already had Josh Hart out there. Josh Hart is not the most reliable and consistent shooter. So then having Precious out there even made it even worse. I don't think people understand how detrimental no spacing is for our players. Everybody, Brunson, Hart, Mikal, Cat, they all work in the mid-range area. If that's Cat post-ups, if that's Mikal faders, Brunson, he works down there. Josh Hart goes downhill. If Precious is out there at the four, his man is just going to be standing in the paint. So, hey, man, I don't know if it's bringing somebody up with that minimum, somebody taking somebody's spot. I don't know what's going to happen when Mitch comes back. I just have a feeling that they're going to play Precious and Mitch, and that's just not... I don't think I have to explain how bad Mitch and Precious spacing is going to be, especially in a playoff setting. So when I say Precious Achiuwa is the key, I'm saying it's the way they use him. My solution to that would be use the minimum on somebody you trust, whether that be TJ Warren. We got a report about Chris Duarte, whatever, a wing. Sign a wing. And what I would do is just make Precious situational. Situational on matchup, situational on Mitch's injury management. I don't know. I think I have a little bit more faith in OG when it comes to stopping people. I think Mikal has the perimeter responsibilities, and at the end of the day, if you have a Donovan Mitchell, a Darius Garland, it's hard to stop those guys. Like nobody is stopping a superstar one-on-one, Nobody's stopping an all-star one-on-one. It's going to have to be a team thing. So then in terms of defensive schemes, it's hard to make these defensive schemes. People want to come for Tibbs and say that his defensive schemes are not it. But it is, at the end of the day, is that you have Brunson and Cat on the floor who are just not the best defenders. They're not the worst. I just think that Brunson tries his best. He just doesn't have Brunson tries his best. He just doesn't have the physical components to be able to stop somebody. He's short, doesn't have the longest wingspan. He's just not meant for defense. He does so much on offense, he's not meant for defense. As for Cat, I think it was a little too I think the Knicks threw Cat into the 5 role a little bit too quick. He came from a situation in Minnesota where they got Rudy Gobert, the arguably best defensive player in the world statistically, and winning all those DPOYs. And I just think they threw him into the fire a little bit too quick. And he was playing a lot of minutes as well. So I think with Mitchell Robinson, I think playing Mitch alongside Cat is going to help everybody, really. You're going to have Wingstop be able to overcommit at times or be able to lock in defensively perimeter-wise because they know they have Mitchell Robinson back there. Overall, I think everybody been playing well. If you just look at it in the lens of this being the first year of a championship window, I think there's not really much to complain about. I think we just have to wait and see what happens in the playoffs. Just let these guys go out there, learn on their own, build this chemistry, because this is year one. I'm not saying take it light. I'm not saying they can go out there and lose in 4 in the first round. That's not what I'm saying. But to ask for a championship first year is a little bit crazy. Like Westbrook said, you just got to go out there and have fun. In terms of this, of a championship this year, I don't think the Knicks can win a championship this year. I don't think it's a knock on the Knicks' talent as a team. There's just as equally or more talented teams who just have it figured out. You know what I mean? Like, they've been around longer than this team, obviously. They have their cores. Other teams are deeper. So I don't think it's realistic that the Knicks win the championship this year. I think it's possible for you to beat Boston in the second round. Everything has to go well, but they're the defending champs. They just won 60-something games last year. They destroyed us twice. It is what it is with that one. I would like Boston to pass Cleveland so we can play Cleveland. I'm not saying Cleveland is easier, but it's just something about them Boston boys. The Jays, I don't know what happens when they see the Knicks on the schedule. It's like RJ Barrett hit that game winner. We're not letting y'all win another one. Yeah, man, I think it's a little premature to ask for a championship. Anything could happen, but I think there's too much uncertainty for this Knicks team. Usually, like, know what I mean? Like, throughout a season, who's really winning a championship. Other people have championship aspirations that have these superstars, but for real, this is the first year of the championship window, but it's also a championship window, so anything could happen. And I kind of like that. I kind of like, like, if you're going all in, you go all in. I'm not saying trade everything for anything, but you just gotta, you have to assess appropriately for sure. So, yeah, man. So that's everything I really had to say. I didn't want to go into too much detail. It's just general, I just wanted to talk. About certain things. I think the Knicks gonna be all right. I think a lot of us complain. I complain a lot on Twitter. I complain about the minutes. I complain about Tibbs. I complain about Josh Hart not shooting because he should shoot. But I think at the end of the day, we're gonna all watch. We're gonna all watch the playoffs. We're gonna all watch Brunson hit some crazy threes, save us. Oh my God, we have this chance against Boston. Something gonna happen. Whatever it is. But I think after this year, it's gonna be this playoffs is a good assessment on everything. I think everything is gonna be assessed in these playoffs. So we're gonna see there. Shout out Brunson and Cat. They were all-stars. That format was terrible. Brunson only played 8 minutes. Brunson recently tweeted that he wants to do a Knicks Twitter basketball game. And it's caused a little argument between people of Knicks Twitter. Knicks Twitter is hilarious. If you're not on Twitter, you need to be on Twitter. But you need to be in Knicks Twitter. You need to see all aspects of Knicks Twitter. The old heads, the young trolls, the 20, I was about to say teenagers, but the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, it's a good mix of everything. I think Knicks Twitter is the most we're just as passionate as the fandom, and you'll see it there. But not passion is we gonna spin and troll on somebody. It's not like that. You'll see you see different content creators, people that go to games, things like that. So definitely join Knicks Twitter. But Brunson, he said that he wants to do a Knicks Twitter tournament for a basketball game. Obviously, if I get invited to play, I'll play. I could hit a three. I could hit a three here and there. But also, if they need a host, I could also host too. I could be on the mic. Hey, Brunson, if you're seeing this, I could be on the court, off the court, whatever you need. I could be Ryan Arcidiacono or I could be Matt Hillman for you. What you need, I'm here. But yeah, man, it's been JC. It's been real. Now it's JC on every platform. This wasn't too serious of a video. For future videos, I can plan more. Whatever I want to talk about, whatever y'all want to see, I can plan more for a specific video. Go into detail, talk stats, whatever y'all want. But it's just, warming up, a beginner video. Now it's JC on every platform. I'm going to holla at y'all. Peace.